open.
Yep. And welcome back to the Rent Suit Podcast, the only podcast that tells you to pay your rent. He's Eric and I'm Owen. What are we talking about today?
Today, full spoiler warning, full breakdown. We're getting all through the meat and potatoes, the details. JJK Chapter 261 officially came out today. A lot of you maybe saw the leaks and previews earlier in the week, especially on Wednesday. And, I mean, it's absolute craziness.
Insane.
Something that nobody would have expected.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, full spoiler warning. We're going straight into it here. I mean, it's crazy. So chapter opens up. It opens up the same way 260 ended. Yuji is ripping straight through Sukuna. Todo is back. He's in full action. He's got a Vibra slap for an arm. Super cool. Boogie Woogie's back. As Yuji is trying to rip Sukuna's heart out here, Sukuna is trying to open up his domain, but notice a ghost, somebody he thinks he put in his grave, and it is
Gojo's back. Gojo's
back. That's where we left off at 260.
Yeah.
We left off at 260, picks up the same, but as soon as he sees Gojo, he says this line here. He says, "I didn't think you were capable of doing that, Yuta Akotsu." And we see the stitches. Oh. We see the stitches across Gojo's forehead. Obviously, was Kenjaku's technique, and then we kind of get the realization here that after Yuta goes in and kills Kenjaku, he has Rika consume Kenjaku so he can use the curse technique, and that's what he does here. So there's kind of a lot of options here. This chapter breaks down why he did it. He was almost dead because of Sukuna's last domain expansion, and really his only option left was to abandon his body, take Gojo's, reply maximum RCT, and get that body back to fighting stance. But I mean, there's a catch there.
Yeah, because really, just real quick to throw this in, I think really at this point, I'm not 100% certain when I say this, but I really do think that the only person who can really beat Sukuna is Gojo, whether that's Yuta in his body or just Gojo in general. But his powers, rather, is the only thing that I think can beat Sukuna. Like, Yuji has tried so much. Yuta tried with his own powers and stuff too. And everybody else has tried too. And it's just like, it hasn't been working. And I think really it's like, that's the only way that you could kill him, I think, is with Gojo's abilities. But
and then we also get the little drop there at the end too, that before Gojo died, he had figured out a loophole in Sukuna's fighting where he'd be able to win. But yeah, like you're saying, there's a catch.
Yeah, so we don't really know. We know like what the catch could be. We don't exactly know like what's going to happen with Yuta after this.
He's got 5 minutes. He's got 5 minutes.
He's got 5 minutes in Gojo's bodies, and they said 4, I believe, in the chapter. 4 different possibilities, and there's a couple of fan theories. I would probably go with one of those 4 that they said in the chapter instead of the fan theories. The fan theories are delusional. Gojo's coming back. He's probably not. But it mostly boils down to one. I'm gonna make sure I'm right on this. One, Yuta just dies after the 5 minutes is up. He's just dead. And Gojo's body is still dead too, and he doesn't come back. That's one. I think the second one is that he will eventually die after the 5 minutes is up. It'll take some time.
Like not exactly after the 5 minutes, but at some point he will die.
There's the third one where Yuta loses his ability, but is just in Gojo's body now. So it's just Yuta in Gojo's body, and then he just has Gojo's abilities, not Yuta's abilities. And then the fourth one, I forget what the fourth one was. So you have it pulled up. I probably should pull it up as well. This is all on the panel. This is like, it's a very detailed. The whole chapter is pretty dialogue heavy, but this whole panel in particular it's pretty dialogue heavy.
Yeah,
the one that they're talking about the possibilities.
So the other option was, well, there's 2 options where he gets to live in Gojo's body. Like you said, there's one where he loses his curse technique and just lives in Gojo's body. Yeah. And the other one is that the theory, this is what I'm sticking with the most, I think, out of this chapter. is that he gets the 5 minutes, right?
Mhm.
And after that 5 minutes is up, that's the amount of time that he can use the curse technique. Um, and the way I'm kind of seeing this in my head is that he only has 5 minutes where he can transition bodies.
Mhm.
So after that 5 minutes is up, he's still in Gojo. He still has Gojo's powers. He just
Right.
can't switch to anybody else. So
Right.
that's where I'm seeing it. I think that's probably the most likely option.
So he
Where he
just like
gets
he
to
uses Gojo's abilities and then just leaves Gojo's body and he's just Yuta again? Is that what you're
no,
saying?
no, 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 no.
Am I
No,
okay?
that he can't transfer his brain back anymore to anything else.
Okay, and
So
then he's
he only
just
has
so
the
okay.
5 minutes where he
I see
can
what you're saying.
transfer.
Yeah, yeah. That's like
So
the
so that
likely. Yeah.
he's stuck in Gojo's body but still has power.
Yeah.
That's where I'm sitting with it.
I would say that makes sense. I mean, that's one of the four. I think it's one of the four possibilities. I know people have thrown out some other things too, but um
Like the other options are this one I do kind of like, but I think it takes away the meaning in like the emotional part of this happening because
mhm.
this is a very emotional thing to happen.
Yeah.
I think it takes away the idea is that Gojo's kind of like spirit sticks to his body, like almost like the way that like Toji, after his body was resurrected and like through like that one technique,
Mhm.
that the old lady used in Shibuya,
Yeah.
where his his energy that was still attached to the body was able to take it back over for him. People are saying that Gojo could do that, which I don't want to say that's impossible or like a ridiculous theory, but I think it would take away from the
It
emotion behind this here.
it's like one of those it's like that's a classic thing in anime when a fan favorite character dies and then people want to see him back. It's just like spoilers for One Piece, by the way, real quick. I'm just gonna toss this in. It's like if Ace came back, it would take away all the emotional impact that had with Luffy in particular, and I mean even Ace himself. But it's just that classic thing in anime. It's just like people want to see a fan favorite character come back. That's this case. I mean, in my opinion, is kind of just fans like, oh, what if Gojo just comes back and is living again? But like Eric said, it's like the emotional impact's too strong and it was too good of a writing, and just to retcon that, I think would be pretty bad writing, in my opinion. But
Yeah, yeah, heard and
I don't
felt there.
I as cool as it would be to see Gojo come back, but this is also kind of like Gojo coming back because we still get to see his powers and
That's the thing
you know, yeah.
is from the get go in JJK 0, Gojo acknowledged Yuta and his power and his curse energy potential to be
Mhm.
further than his. The only thing is he can't use Limitless because Limitless only comes if you physically have 6 eyes. So they were talking about in this chapter, they're like, couldn't he just couldn't have Rika consume Gojo's body so he can use Limitless? And he's like, no, that only would work if you have 6 eyes. So he
Mhm.
had to do this to get the 6 eyes.
Mhm.
So the fact is that Gojo acknowledged Yuta's potential here and his power to surpass him, but he doesn't have the fortune or the luck that Gojo has to be granted with the abilities to use the power.
Right.
So having somebody who's stronger than Gojo being able to use Gojo, it's like
Yeah.
combining the both worlds. Like you were saying earlier, you said, you think that Gojo's powers are really the only thing that can beat him. And so now that we have that and the potential there at the same time, I think we are looking at the end game, which I've said multiple times throughout this fight.
Yeah. I mean, because I know before at the end of the last chapter, everybody was saying there's some theories where like before we figured out the Kenjaku thing, we're like, oh, Gojo's coming back. Maybe that means Sukun is getting close to dying, like he's seeing ghosts or something. And
Which I like that theory. That was actually
that
pretty
was a cool theory, I think, too. But I mean, like this is like we could highlight this real quick. This is a theory that I don't think anybody really thought of because not that we thought it was impossible, but we just didn't really think of it because Kenjaku, I forget when he said that or when he stated this, but he's like he couldn't take over Gojo's body because he
right.
wasn't strong enough. And now
JJ
you
was
reverse
throwing
it.
us for a loop there.
Yeah, it's like now you reverse it. You're like, okay, Yuta's strong enough, so he can just copy that and take Gojo's powers, take Gojo's body, and there you go. And it's just like it's just something really cool that it's it's one of those twists where it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense, but you just didn't think about it,
Right.
And I like twists like that. You don't have to give me something super crazy. Just give me a twist that makes sense, but I didn't think about it. That's clever writing in a lot of ways, to be honest.
And also in this chapter, we get a lot of good emotional beats from the characters here,
Hmm.
especially
Especially,
Yuta.
yeah, and then to see the
And
flashbacks with Gojo as well too.
right, because Gojo's going in this fight and he's saying he won't lose, but you can tell that he kind of feels like he will.
Hmm.
But I think from what I'm picking up from Gojo is that he was ready to lose. He was ready to die. Like
Yeah.
at this point, he doesn't have really anybody left. Like he wants is he wants to be with Naname. He wants to be with Geto. Like he's really broken. He's a broken
Hmm.
character, and that's like one of the things that I think's why his character writing's so good. Because if you look at him, he's got a smile on all the time,
Hmm.
and he's always trying to have fun, but inside he's extremely depressed character, and but he's able to push through it and to be the mentor that the students need.
It's one of the
Um,
best written characters I think in the show. Probably the best character in my opinion, best written character in the show. And I'm going to bring this up because I'm a big Naruto fan. I just love the parallels between Gojo and Kakashi. I think it's
mhm.
super cool. And not that it's like, copying, because they're pretty similar in some ways, but it's just like it's a really cool parallel. And not that the writers took influence from, I mean, not that they didn't take influence from, because it's similar, but like, come on. I think that story and just, Gojo's, because I think it's something that's highlighted now in particular. Like you could kind of see throughout the show that Gojo kind of has this sort of like, he's a broken character. He doesn't have anybody left. And you see him slowly kind of start losing that, you know, that
Yeah,
smile, everything that makes him kind of happy. But it's just like throughout the show, I don't think it's highlighted enough. I think here it's just like it just hits home even more.
yeah, and
And yeah.
this page we get here from Yuta regarding that how Gojo has to do the dirty work. He has to be a quote unquote monster sometimes.
Hmm.
Um, it going into that he says with Gojo, what about Gojo? Sensei, wasn't he important? We always let him be the monster, but now that he's gone, someone has to do it, and if nobody else has the guts to do it, I'll become the monster. And I think is because what they're doing here, Utah's abandoning all sense of morals and humanity here in
Hmm.
order to do the one thing that can probably break down the strongest sorcerer of all time, Sukuna. And I think it's really
It's really cool. It's a cool twist. It's a cool writing point to make you to kind of the not the new Gojo in a way, but just like, taking on the burden. I think it's cool.
and the other part here is that because it's a flashback into a flashback here. Uh, the second flashback where he's talking to Gojo in the hallways. Gojo's preparing for the fight with Sukuna. Um, Yuta's like, stop trying to be the monster on your own. He's like, I can't do that. That day when I was left behind, he said that day I was left behind, so I have to catch up. And it shows the shot of Geto and him when they had their argument in the city from Hidden Inventory. He's
Hmm.
kind of referring to how how he's lost without Geto, and he wants to catch up to him because
Yeah.
they were so tied together that
Hmm.
that he doesn't feel the same without him.
Oh, it's crazy to think that from Gojo's development from the start of JJK and just from like not knowing all of it. Because the thing that's cool about JJK season one is, even though it's not the technical like chronological start of the show, it's the point of the show where you know the least, obviously, but it's also it builds around itself. It's like instead of going forward, it's like, okay, we're gonna do JJK 0 and then we're gonna do hidden inventory. So it's going backwards. And then as you're watching all those things, the movie and then the season, you're seeing all this context for characters like Gojo in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you look back on, how different he is in season one. And I just think stuff like that's really cool. Just how
Yeah,
they build his character throughout
they
the
really
show.
did. They really do because when you break it down, hidden inventory is the most important arc
Oh,
out of
yeah.
all of it. If it weren't for hidden inventory, the story would not project in the way it does. And characters like Toji, like you might think that he was just like a one-off like villain, like he really changed the entire narrative. If it weren't for him, Gato's hate for normal humans would not have been developed after not only getting whooped by Toji, but also seeing Rika die in front of him from Toji, and obviously Toji's impact on Gojo, where Gojo met his breaking point and was able to build out of that and find his potential and be able to use Limitless and everything just at a much stronger control and be able to get Hollow Purple there.
And it created one of the best scenes in the entire show. I'm sorry that scene's great. It's just
dude,
that whole scene is just amazing. Is he high? It's great. I love that scene. And
just floating in the air.
Yeah. No, I do think like Gojo is always one of my favorite characters in the show. But I think just after this, it's just you gain a different appreciation for him. It's like yeah, he's cool and he has strong powers and all that sort of stuff. But it's like now it's like okay, he's just a well written character, which I think is really cool. And it's weird. We say this about characters like Gojo, even Yuta and Gato to an extent. It's like JJK is probably one of the only shows that just kind of says that can shove its MC aside and just focus on all these side characters, and whereas arguably it doesn't really even have an MC.
I think that's one of the places where JJK shines. Is I know
so
you didn't feel that same way when you just watched season 1, which made sense because it kind of just felt like the characters were there, but like you were saying, it goes back and develops characters and the way it sets their arc trajectory. Where I think it has some of my favorite developed characters. People like Yuta, people like Maki, people like Fushiguro, Yuji, like everybody. Naname has an incredible character arc.
He's great character arc. It's just different because it's just we're obvious. I mean, more shows are kind of, I don't want to say they're doing this, but they're kind of doing stuff like this. Throughout watching anime, for me at least, and I'm sure in your case too. It's just like you have all these shows that are focusing on MCs, and then sometimes they just focus too much on the MC and shove off some of the side characters, or they have to spend an ungodly amount of time developing all the characters. So it's just cool to see that JJK is not afraid to push aside its MC. And I'm not saying Yuji's a bad developed character by any means. He's a great developed character, but it's just different, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting on that portion here. But like, as we go forward, we see like this operation happening. Yuta is completely cut open, like guts spilling out, holding on just for a chance for this operation to work. And obviously it does. And first thing, right out the bat, dude, absolute incredible shot here. You got Sukuna opening Malevolent Shrine and Yuta fresh into Gojo's body, going straight into Unlimited Void. Being able to pull off, obviously, the craziest move he could. Incredible shot.
Might be one of the best panels in JJK. Can't lie.
I want this on my wall.
Like that's pretty. That's up there with 120% in the triple domain expansion. Like that's up there, dude. It's really good. I cannot wait to see that get animated. By the way, it's gonna be a little while, but
it's a couple years, probably 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years. I mean, there's other cool stuff to see get animated first. In particular.
Apparently, in August we're supposed to get an info dump on season 3, maybe even a trailer.
Nice. So, because I'm curious to see how long it'll be. It'll probably be about
It'll be 24.
Yeah. Okay.
It'll be 24. I don't know if they'll do the full culling games in it. We'll just have to see kind of what they handle in it.
Yeah.
I'm excited though. But so we're kind of at this point. I believe there's a break next week. Unfortunate. I know. I believe there's a break next week, but it actually doesn't even say when the next chapter will be out.
Pulling One Piece.
No, I'm guessing they're doing a break, just a break week. But the thing is, if this happens, there's so many more possibilities and options here. I feel like that because it's been getting crazy. This has been a long fight with so many moving pieces
and
that I feel like the options here are now kind of endless.
Because there's a lot of ways you can go. Like you could be, it's like, okay, this is just the end. Yuta packs up Sukuna, and then that's just the end. That's one option. I don't think that'll happen. I feel like I highly doubt that'll happen. I think it could, but I don't think it will. And then there could be something where it's like, okay, Yuta, weakens him a little bit, and then guess who's right there? Yuji and Toto, and then that's how they finish the fight or something like that. My mind is that I don't think it's going to end here. I think there's going to be something else, which is because of just how this how this arc has been and how Sukuna has been written kind of into this, is that he's just so much stronger. It's like, yeah, I know Yuta's using Gojo's powers, but only 5 minutes is kind of like I don't know. It's too short, and it also creates this. I wanted to say this earlier. It creates this it could create this different kind of effect for Sukuna, where he's got to be more like defensive instead of kind of.
Yeah, because obviously, if you just got 5 minutes, he's gonna be.
Yeah, he's gonna be going
straight at it.
Sukuna can stall or try to stall as much as he can, and once that 5 minutes is up, and he could be fine. So it's gonna have Sukuna play a little differently, I think. There's been times where he's been kind of defensive, but I think in this case it's definitely going to be emphasized.
So yeah, like you're saying that the option is Yuta packs up Sukuna, end of story. They do damage control on it. We get to see the characters afterwards. A little bit of development there. Mm-hmm. We see that 5 minutes is up and Yuta's still in Gojo, but loses powers. That's like you're saying, that's an option. And then at that point, I really don't know what would happen there. I think we're back to Yuji.
It creates this branching tree effect where it's like does Yuta give up the 5 minutes, or like does he use up the 5 minutes without killing Sukuna? And then it's like, okay, then what happens? Like we talked about earlier with Yuta, and then from there it branched off to like a bunch of different paths. So it's just like it kind of depends on what happens with Yuta and in Gojo, just like that whole situation, just that, and then it'll branch off into whatever else could happen.
What if by the way, JJK's been writing this. What if Sukuna kills Yuta while in Gojo?
Good.
He could even up, dude.
Just and then Yuji and Toto just standing there, just like, dude, what?
Like, I'm almost convinced here, and I almost feel like JJ could do this. JJ, I feel like Sukuna could just kill everybody.
I was gonna say it's not
like there's a possibility that this is written where nobody's strong enough to kill Sukuna. Sukuna kills it and takes it back to his era where he ruled. Mm-hmm. Like that's fully an option here.
Even with Gojo technically back, it's not off the table now. It's totally not off the table. I mean, we were thinking that like a couple months ago. Like there's like, yeah, there's no way anyone's gonna beat Sukuna, and it's just like now there's some hope, and then it's just like you never know.
Yeah,
because I don't think there's anybody out there. I mean, I've said this before, but like I don't know what could be like. I don't think Yuji can kill Sukuna just on his own. Even with Toto there too. I mean, I know Toto. Didn't Sukuna? I'm not super brushed up on that, but like Sukuna said that he couldn't read Toto's boogie woogie.
Yeah, he couldn't.
Yeah, he couldn't read it at all. But what if? I don't know how much it would affect. It's like if like Toto would kind of be like support and could help Yuta with when you like using Gojo's body to kind of like.
What if?
I don't know how much that would help out.
What if before the 5 minutes is up, Toto has a way where he can swap Yuta's soul out of the body?
That would be cool.
So tough, dude.
That would be really cool. That's like some law stuff. That would be really cool. I didn't even think about that.
That'd be cool. But again, I feel like we also still haven't seen the full potential of Yuji yet. Over the past couple chapters, we've realized that he has not one but two curse techniques.
Mm-hmm.
He has the blood manipulation that he got from his quote unquote younger brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also has a little bit of Sukuna's curse technique inside of him that lingered from Sukuna being Sukuna's vessel.
Right.
Which he doesn't really know how to use too much yet. And he has a simple domain. But we are yet to see a full domain expansion, and we're yet to see really what the peak of his curse techniques could be.
With how much I just, we did talk about how like this JJK not really having a MC, sort of speak. They're not gonna just leave Yuji. He's gonna do something, I gotta imagine. But I just don't know what. Because he's been fighting Sukuna for quite some time, and it's just like you don't really know exactly what he'll do.
10 black flashes.
Yeah, I know. He has so many black flashes, and then
face.
Yeah, that's the thing that's kind of like, ooh, I don't think he's gonna really do anything.
Yeah.
So that's worrying. But like, no,
if Yuta dies, that would mean that there are no more special grade sorcerers left in the world.
That would be, yeah, that's very true.
Because it was Yuki, the blonde hair girl,
Gojo,
and Geto and Yuta.
Yeah.
Those were the 4 special grades. If they're gone, there are no more special grades left, which I think opens up either possibilities for other people to get put into special grade. Like Toto and Yuji. And you know what? I don't know how this would work. Never mind. This is a half-baked theory in my head, so I will not say it right now.
Okay. No, I feel like something needs to happen with Fushiguro, since Fushiguro still suck inside of. I guess that's true, but
Sukuna somewhere.
Right.
But I feel like if he gets out, I don't know what he could do, other than summon Maharaga. But
that'd be kind of funny.
Sukuna would pack up Maharaga now that Sukuna's in his full form.
He's gonna say round 2, and Maharaga's just gonna get folded again.
Dude, so. I think one of my favorite things from that fight was when Maharaga hits Sukuna in the building and Sukuna walks back out with popcorn.
That was pretty funny. That was funny. No, but it's just like I don't know. It's just so hard to predict it, because with how it's been, how all of JJK has been written, it's just hard to predict, really. And it's just going to depend on what this fight's going to hinge like what probably will happen. Like we'll kind of know what's going to happen based off of this fight.
Yeah, this duel, this matchup.
Like, that might seem really stupid to say, but it's like it's hinging on the next, like whatever this fight is going to do. It's just going to be okay. This could happen.
It's hinging on 5 minutes. The entire end of the series can be determined by this 5 minutes.
And like we said, there's so many possibilities right now. It's just we don't know, and it all is going to depend on this fight.
Dude, and Nobra's showing back up with half a head and is going to completely dominate
and going to do nothing. No.
What if Fushiguro's just dead inside of Sukuna and like they can't even get him back anymore? How it sucks.
It's like you're just going to be like, oh hey, let's go get him back. Oh. Oh, he's gone.
Or they just brush over the fact that he was in there in the first place. Like, yeah, we killed Sukuna. It's like
it just moves forward. It's like everybody's happy. They're like, wait, what about Fushiguro? It's like, oh, my bad.
Who's that?
No, I want Toto to do something. I just want Toto to do something like nuts. Like him pulling up was really cool, but like I just don't know what he can really do. I mean, the fact that Sukuna can't read the Boogie Woogie though is like that's pretty huge. I think
it's because he can do like 10,000 swaps in a minute or something.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's like what the stat said.
That's what I'm saying. It's just, but like I think that's pretty big. Like Boogie Woogie is a pretty broken technique, and I just think it's like that can play into this as well. So, and like you said, it could play into swapping Yuta out of Gojo's body too, which would be interesting.
If we have no idea if that's even a possibility.
Right. But I'm just saying it's a cool theory.
So. It's a good theory, yeah.
So,
but that's about all I got there. I think we're just kind of waiting now for the next chapter.
Yeah. It's really cool. Like the chapter is insanely hype, and it's just we don't know. It's a cool game.
So many possibilities opened up with this.
Yeah, and I like this direction. I'm kind of it's smelling the end, but I don't think it's completely the end. I think there's going to be some other things that are going to happen.
A couple more twists, couple more turns.
It's not going to be as simple as Yuta just packs up Gojo. Sorry. God, I can't talk right now. Man, I can't talk right now. I'm tired, folks. Sorry. Yuta, it's not going to be as simple as Yuta packing up Sukuna, because I think that would be that's not how this show's been written. That's not how it's been written.
Yeah. So, well, between now and the next chapter, we will pass the end of a month and the start of a new one. So I believe that would mean that you would need to pay your rent if you are renting.
Yes.